All right, let's get started. Today's session is getting started with Adobe Acrobat and Acrobat Sign. I'd like to turn it over to our first presenter for the day, Tony Lista, Adobe Document Cloud National Sales Manager, Education. Welcome, Tony.
Good morning. Thank you, Amanda. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I'm Tony Lista. I'm in the Boston area today. On behalf of Adobe, thank you very much for joining us today. As Amanda said, the topic is getting started with Adobe Acrobat and Sign. We're excited to show newer users and more experienced users the basic features of Acrobat and Sign, including the administrative console, Sign and Acrobat user interface, and some very cool demos showing the key features of these products. To help us learn a little bit more about the people that are on the session this morning, to help you understand a little bit more about how the on-demand sessions work and what we're going to explore today. This particular slide shows you some information. Today is June 22nd. We're going to be exploring the administrative console, some storage functions. We're going to show you how integrations work, and then we're going to show you the various user interface features of Acrobat and Sign. I also invite you to look back on some of the on-demand libraries that we have, some on-demand demos and presentations, particularly for those of you that are more advanced users and might be looking to integrate Acrobat and Sign with Workday for your ERP solution, or those of you that use Microsoft for Teams environments or Outlook. We have some really fantastic native integrations that work there. And a couple of my clients have been asking recently about integration with Salesforce. So all of these on-demand sessions are available for you to look at during your leisure. In July, we're going to be skipping a session, but we'll pick up again in August and September. Now, so that we can learn a little bit more about the individuals that are joining us here today. Right now, I see around 120 participants. I'd love to know a little bit more about your background, where you work, what your goals are for today. Typically, we see a large concentration of IT individuals, which in fact I see today. And when we're looking at gauging the demo, it looks like we have a number of intermediate users today, which is fantastic. We've got some people that are familiar with using Acrobat and Sign. We've got a large concentration of IT individuals and also some worker individuals from the finance area. Terrific. Thank you very much. Good. What I want to say once again is if you have any questions, put them in the question area on the left-hand side of your screen. At the end, we'll be doing some Q&A, and we encourage you to continue to interact throughout the session if you have any questions. As Amanda indicated, the session today is getting started with Adobe Acrobat and Sign. So even though we're looking to provide you a summary overview, think of the products that we're going to be demonstrated as products that will help you with whatever digital transformation your organization, institution, district are trying to take over. One of the things I'd like to do is level set for people and get a sense for what we think digital transformation is. So as I'm explaining what we hear and what we see from clients with digital transformation, over in the question area, maybe you could help us think about what you think a digital transformation is. To some, it means thinking of converting paper into digital documents. Still others think of taking those electronic documents and adding an e-signature. And finally, some of our advanced users will think of digital transformation as connecting various critical enterprise systems with Adobe Acrobat and Sign for the automation of digital document workflows and e-signatures. We're going to show you a little bit of all of that today, but again, I'd love to hear what you think digital transformation is. Drop a little note here in the question area. One of the things that, regardless of what your definition of digital transformation is, there's no doubt that Adobe saw significant motivation of our clients into digital transformation with COVID. Sign and Acrobat assisted our clients with transforming their office-based paper processes to digital, paperless, remote work processes. We certainly have got a large indication from our clients that these products will meet your needs, and I'd love to get your feedback after today whether or not this session has been useful in terms of helping you use Adobe Acrobat and Sign more efficiently and effectively in your institution. For those of you that are beginning the paperless journey, what do you need to consider? Think about a document workflow in your organization. Consider every stage from the document creation through collaboration, signature, archival, and later on retrieval. Each one of these steps are a manual process that you might be today thinking about modifying and automating. So it's important to take your workflow steps and consider that. And then what we'd be happy to do is to work with you to automate those processes using Sign and Acrobat. We just did some studies recently with a number of our clients in the education, nonprofit, and commercial space. And what we found is that these particular areas of interest, about 80% of documents are still in a document phase. So what we're trying to do here is to help our clients automate these things, uh, switch to paperless workflows like I described, flip the equation and take away 80% of those documents and automate it so that you can have a more efficient workflow process within your organization. This slide is really more to get you thinking about where in your institution, organization, or district workflow transformation can occur, modifying paper-based documents. So we identified some high-level areas for you to consider. Operations, think of vendor agreements, think of finance, think of purchase agreements, and then on the staff management side, we see a heavy usage of electronic and digital transformation occurring in HR, particularly around faculty and staff and employee onboarding process. Adobe itself does most of its hiring in an automated fashion. And 3 years ago, when I came on board to the company, I signed all my documents remotely. So this is an area that you could get significant improvement. And then in the higher education and K-12 area, think of IEPs, think of parent authorizations, drop ads, deans, and career services as areas where you can take advantage of these applications. One or two more quick slides, and then I'll get to the meat of what you really want to see, which is seeing the demo. These are some consulting work that we did with Forrester to identify how clients did after implementing some of these products that we're talking about today, Acrobat and Acrobat Sign. It's significant improvement in transaction speed, labor intensity, and reduction in errors. So for a highly compliant area like education or business, having an automated process using templates that get you there sooner, quicker, faster has proven to not only save money, but improve efficiency and compliance activities with our clients. One final note here. Just for those of you that are part of either an Office 365 environment, or those of you that are familiar with PDFs but may not understand how often they're used, we had 250 billion of our PDF files. That's right, 250 billion of our PDF files open last year. And that those that are involved with using Office 365 Teams, 40% of all attachments are typically PDFs. So we can see that these are powerful products that run business, run education, and run nonprofits. So we're here to help you. And again, we look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, once again, drop them in the left-hand side. If you'd like additional details, give us your email address. I'll provide more context for that later on. Now, what I'd like to do without further ado is turn this over to my colleague, Kyrie, who will give you a Acrobat and Sign demo. And Kyrie, it's yours.
Yep. Thank you, Tony. Pleasure to meet you all. As Tony mentioned, my name is Kyrie Watson, the Adobe Solutions Consultant. So I cover all things pertaining to digital media. That includes Creative Cloud, Document Cloud, as well as Sign. So I'm happy to be here today and show you a number of use cases when it comes to Acrobat and Acrobat Sign. So on the agenda today, I know there's a lot of IT folks on the call, so I'll talk about how you can entitle your users to Acrobat and Sign within the admin console. Afterwards, I'll do an overview on the two products we're focusing on, Acrobat Pro as well as Sign. I'll talk about how the cloud will allow you to utilize these products on your desktop machine, your web machine, as well as your mobile or your tablet. And then afterwards, I'll really go into what we've all been waiting for, the Acrobat demo and Sign demo. And that's what we're waiting on right now. So happy to go through this. I'm excited to showcase what we have in store for you today. So I'm just going to get into it. Perfect. So hopefully everyone can still see the admin console is what I'm showcasing right now. So I know there's a lot of IT folks on the call. This admin console is really going to be your bread and butter when you're managing your users, managing your licenses, having any settings that you place upon them. But also it'll be nice to use when it comes to storage as well. Have you seen the top ribbon? We have a number of different aspects that you can manage within the admin console. I don't want to dive in too deep because it can get real technical and real deep within the admin console, but I do want to highlight that with SSO being leveraged, if you do utilize, let's say, Azure, Okta, Google SSO, etc., that all can be leveraged within the admin console within the settings tab. And I'll quickly highlight that later on in the demo, but I do want to showcase that that is an offer available. So what we're looking at right now is just the overview tab, and that's really the landing page once you log on to the console. At the top right, you can see the organization that you're a part of. This is our demo account. So some of the numbers may be a little bit skewed. I'm not sure about you, but I don't know about 619 admins, preferably not what I would want, but we trust our employees here at Adobe. But also here within the admin console on the overview page, you can see your products and services. It's nice that you can see the number of licenses that you have assigned out of the total numbers that you have available. So you can see a quick glance if you need to purchase more licenses, purchase more transactions, if needed going further. You can also see your storage availability. And if you want to learn some of the newest, latest, and greatest features when it comes to Document Cloud or Creative Cloud, these options are all available from the landing page. So now we'll talk about how you can assign Acrobat licenses and any configurations you need for your end users. What I'm going to start off with first is managing my users. Here within the users tab, this is where I can add users, whether that's ad hoc or even CSV. If I have a lot of users I need to add. At a high level, you can see the name. I know some of their name might be none, but again, this is our demo account. But you can see their email, federated ID. When it comes to identity type, that's really just managing how they'll log in and how they'll manage within their account. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. And also at a high level, you can see which products those users have been assigned. But in many cases, you may want to manage your users on more group basis. So we have user groups here as well. You can see in the group, you can see the name as well as the numbers of users within each of those groups, as well as the admin. For this use case, I'm going to create a new user group. I'm going to call this the Seattle HR department. Make sure I capitalize that. Perfect. I'm going to save that. So now I have that user group available. It was immediately added right here below Photoshop users. So I'm gonna drill a little bit into the user group just to show you what can be managed within the user groups. At a high level, you see the users, you see that's loading in. If I want an admin there, I have that opportunity available to me. And this admin will be able to be in charge of what the users within that user group can access, but also who's within the user group. And then I have the ability to assign product profiles. So I'm gonna take a step back. Product profile may be a foreign term for some. It's really just a collection of licenses and services. So for this case, it's going to be a collection of Acrobat licenses and the service that come with that. But you'll see me put that into action a little bit later. For right now, I want to add users to this group because there's no point in me having a group if there's no users within it. So once I select add users, you can see I can easily add their username or their email address. For now, I'm going to add myself. I'm also going to add a couple of my colleagues. I'm going to add my colleague Alex, as well as my colleague Cindy. Perfect. Now I have 3 users within this user group. I can save it. Now there's 3 users within the Seattle HR department. It will just take a quick moment to load. Let me just go right here, go back. And now you can see that we're all here. You can see our email address as well as our identity type. Now, if I want to edit the user group, that offer is available to me too. Now I have the user group. Now I want to assign these users. I want to assign myself, Alex, and Cindy some products, specifically Acrobat. I'm going to go here into the products tab. And here within this product tab, this is where you'll see a high level of all the products that you have within your agreement, whether that's Creative Cloud, for this use case, Document Cloud, but also we can use Experience Cloud too. Again, it's really nice with this page that you can see a high level of the number of licenses that you already have assigned out of the total number of licenses that you've already purchased. So if you need to purchase more licenses moving forward, for example, this Sign Sandbox, I only have 2 licenses available. Let's say I know I have 5 more employees coming up who may need this. I know I can reach out to my account manager, my account representative, and see if I can get some more licenses. But for right now, I'm just going to go into this Acrobat Pro DC entitlement. And this is where that word comes back, product profile. Again, that's just a bucket or a collection of licenses and services that I will assign to a user or a user group. Again, once I click within here, I can see the total number of licenses that I've already have for this entitlement out of the total number of licenses that I've already assigned. I can see the users that have been assigned this product profile, as well as any admins that are assigned to it as well. I can create a new profile here, which I will do in a moment, but I do want to highlight within each of these product profiles, you can see the name, the number of users that have been entitled to this specific product profile, as well as the license quota. So an admin or a system admin will be able to manage this license quota using this set quota option here. Where if I wanted to add more licenses for this Acrobat Without Sign group, or for the default Acrobat configurations, I can easily add more licenses here. Perfect. But for this case, I still need to assign my HR department some licenses. So I'm going to select new profile, create a product profile name, whatever works for me. I'm going to choose Acrobat Seattle HR. If I want to just have a different name or a description, that's an option available for me. I do like showcasing this notify users by email. For my IT folks on the call, I'm pretty sure if you're making a lot of changes within any of your product configurations, sometimes it may notify your user that the changes have been made, and then you'll get a support case. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Why did this happen? If you don't want that to happen, if you don't want too many of the end users to be emailed every time you make a change, you can easily turn this off. And that way, any changes that you're making, let's say you're doing some cleanup here within the admin console, removing users, adding users to licenses, to profiles, they won't be emailed this unless you want them to. For this case, don't really want us to be emailed because I think Alex and Cindy are on the call so they can see that I'm giving us licenses. So I'm gonna select next. And then I see the number of Acrobat licenses I have available. This is where I set that license quota. So for this specific product profile, I only need 3. And then I'm gonna select next. And then here comes a word with the product profile. I said it's a collection of licenses. I already chose the licenses and services. This is where I'll manage these services that I want myself, Cindy, and Alex to leverage. I can have us leverage Adobe fonts to utilize all the fonts that we have available here at Adobe, but also PDF services. And the value of this is really enabling users, if you're a big Microsoft 365 house, whether that's SharePoint, OneDrive, etc., or even Google as well, leveraging the different PDF services while within those platforms. So let's say, for example, I'm in SharePoint. I have a PDF document or maybe a Word document that I want to convert into a PDF. While within SharePoint, I can easily select that document and convert it into a PDF without ever having to leave that interface. I do like to have that feature there, so I'm gonna keep this setting on, but if I didn't, I can disable it if necessary. But I'm gonna select save for now. It'll just take a quick few moments. Eventually, the product profile will appear. And you can see it right. Let's see. Let me find it. Oh, there it is, right there on top. Acrobat Seattle HR. So now I'm gonna go back to my users. Go back to that user group to make sure that we have assigned it. Find my user group, Seattle HR department, and assign product profiles. This is where I'm assigning that product profile so that Cindy, Alex, and I will be able to actually leverage Acrobat capabilities. Assign profile, select the plus button, and you see it has all the different products I already have available within my agreement. But for right now, I'm just going to use this Acrobat Pro. And right there at the top, you see Acrobat Seattle HR department. So I'm going to assign this to us. I can even assign others if I wanted to, but just for this use case, I'm only going to assign that to us. And once it's saved, within a matter of moments, we're able to access Acrobat and be able to leverage that once we're able to sign in. So it just takes a few moments to sign this in. And now Alex, Cindy, and I can go onto Acrobat, leverage it, work on any PDFs that we find necessary. And the real value of that was just to showcase how easy and smooth that process was to create a product profile, assign it to my user group. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can set up SSO capabilities if you're using Azure, Okta, Google SSO. Where you'll set that up is here within the Settings tab. And this is where you will manage your directories, domains, any of your IDP providers that you're working with. All you have to do is select Create Directory. Choose a directory name. For now, I'll just choose Seattle Public Schools. And again, federated ID, that word comes up. That's what I would need those end users to be on, their identity type when they're logging into Acrobat or anything, to be able to leverage that SSO capability. So when they do wish to sign into Sign or wish to sign into Acrobat, they'll be taken to whichever SSO configuration I want them to as an IT manager or IT admin to set up. So I'll select Next. And again, have Microsoft, Google, or any other sample providers necessary. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is something you can leverage. Again, you can learn more as well later on within the links. So now that Alex, myself, and Cindy, we now all have Acrobat, I'm gonna take us into the Acrobat UI. So this is what the Acrobat desktop version looks like. Again, it's a lot of information here, but it's a very powerful tool, but I'm gonna make it very clear and concise for you just to show the ease of use of managing within Acrobat. Here I'm in the home page where immediately at the top, you can see a number of the quick actions I can easily leverage once I log in. The value of this is once I log in, I can easily select if I want to export a PDF, if I want to combine files without having to drill in too deep into the tools. All these options are automatically available here for me. Also at the top, I can search through if I need to find any documents, if I have any notifications options here available too. I'm gonna go down the left-hand side. See, I'm already on my recent documents, so you can see my beautiful business card that Gene created here at the top. That's one of the last things I've opened. You can also see that's been shared from Gene to myself and the date I opened it, etc. And now it can be same for all the other documents I've worked on previously. If I have anything starred, something I'm working on currently that I need to focus on, I can put that within this folder just by selecting that option. I go down a little bit further, I have Adobe Cloud Storage. So this is where that conversation of having my documents where I need them. Right here within the cloud storage, these are my files. These are the files that are within my Adobe Cloud. So you see I have a number of different folders here available, whether that's creative work, any other demos I'm working on. Also have Scan. So this is where our free Adobe Scan application comes into play. I know sometimes I have receipts coming around, whether it's from work trips or whatnot. I can easily scan those PDFs, scan those receipts or any other documents and upload them to my Acrobat Cloud. And that way I can, use them to be reimbursed for any use case like that. But any other use case, if you need to turn a document into a PDF, have it into your cloud, make any edits or whatnot, this free Adobe Scan app is a game changer. Also on the left-hand side, I can see the documents that's been shared by myself or shared by others. Like I said, I have that beautiful business card that Gene sent to me. So you can see that's the top thing right there. If I wish to manage my agreements, I can easily go to Acrobat Sign, which I'll touch on later. But again, I just want to showcase that all these different applications are applicable and accessible from Acrobat. I'll go a little bit further and I'll touch on the different other file storages that we can work with. So maybe you have your files in Box or OneDrive. We have a lot of options for you if you have your documents there where you don't have to necessarily leave Acrobat to access those documents. Or even if you're working on a document within Acrobat, you can easily save it here if necessary. So if you see on the left-hand side, I already have my Google Drive account already configured, as well as my SharePoint account already configured. So if I was working on a document and I wanted to save it there, I can easily just save it to my Google Drive account if necessary. Also, I can do that locally if I wanted to as well. So just really nice for you to work in one place if necessary, and not have to switch back and forth between different platforms, which can be tedious and also could be a distraction. So that was the Acrobat desktop interface, the UI, how simple, sleek, and smooth it is. I'm gonna go into the web interface. But wait, there's more. We're in the web interface on the browser, so you can easily just log on, whether it's Chrome, Edge, which is what I'm working on. You can see how it's very simple, very familiar to what it looked like within the desktop version. Again, from the top on the ribbon, I can access the documents I'm working on, a list of my files, whether they're shared or even the agreements. I can also easily edit PDFs, organize, or secure. These options are all available to me. One thing I do like is that it has a small description right below it to give me a little bit more understanding of what I can do with this tool. Same can be said from converting documents, whether to PDFs or from PDFs. And again, here's some of our e-sign functions. And then also I can leverage all the tools. One thing I do want to highlight about this function when I select all the tools, you go right here. Perfect. I can see all the different applications I have available for me within Acrobat. I can edit all the tools. I can edit, I can convert, I can crop pages, etc. But then as you also see right here on this ribbon, you can see the ones that are applicable for specific machines. So for desktop, working with desktop, I know I'll have to be to redact a document or scan an OCR. I'll need to be on desktop, specifically Acrobat Pro. If I was working on my mobile or my tablet, these are the different applications I can leverage. And then here are the different tools I can use within the web. And again, super powerful. I don't have to have the Acrobat desktop app installed onto my machine. I can just go into the browser and have all these tools available to me without ever having to leave anything else. So again, just really powerful tool, especially within the web. And now I'm on a homepage again. And you can see all these tools are immediately right here in front of my face once I log in. So once I log in, I can just continue to work, automatically go to where I need to go, organize pages if necessary, design a new page, automatically once I log in. And again, it's very cohesive, very consistent with my recent documents. That's the power of the Adobe Cloud. You see that business card is the first thing again, similar to what it was on the desktop application. Now I have another surprise in store for you a little bit later to kind of show that cohesiveness. Now I'm going into my mobile device. Again, I mentioned that we have Acrobat Reader, which is our mobile platform for Acrobat. And again, this is utilizing our Adobe Acrobat Cloud, where I can leverage all of my documents from my mobile device. So if you're working with a tablet, let's say you're on a train, or maybe you're on vacation. I know the 4th of July is coming up and some people have some trips planned. You may have to get some work done. You may have to work on some documents, comment something with your teams. All that can be done from your phone or your tablet just by having this application. You can see I'm working with all the same documents that I was previously on the web version as well as the browser. If I want to open the file, get Adobe Scan, I'm a huge advocate for Scan. I'm gonna keep talking about it because it's free, obviously. You can scan any PDFs if necessary, but also you can edit, create, and combine files all from your mobile device if necessary. So you don't necessarily have to bring your laptop if you don't need to. You can also just have the Reader app. You can make a lot of changes and be productive while away from your machine. If you look at the bottom, you see I have 4 different tabs. Home, which is where I'm at with all my recent documents. Here I'm at my files, and these are where the files I can access from my phone. I can access my photos. I can leverage stuff from my Adobe Cloud, but also those integrations that I mentioned before. that I mentioned before, whether that's Google, Dropbox, OneDrive. Again, the value of this is never really having to go back and forth between different applications. I can stay within this Acrobat Reader app and access the documents from my Google Drive and convert it into a PDF all from here. I can see the documents that's been shared by me, also by others. Again, my business card is going to pop up right there at the top. You see it. And if I need to, I can search through everything as well. So again, the value of this is just to show the cohesiveness and the consistency with Acrobat, whether that's from the desktop, from the web browser, or from my mobile device. So we touched on Acrobat. Now I'm going to go into Sign. Let me go into my Sign account. I do have to sign back in. Now I'm in Acrobat Sign. Try to say Acrobat and Acrobat Sign 5 times fast. It's a struggle for me. Maybe some of y'all are better. But now I'm here in Acrobat Sign, and this is automatically the home page. From immediately, I can see any documents, any agreements that I'm working on in progress, anything that's waiting on me, any alerts I need to work on, but also have some quick tools. Again, the main purpose of Acrobat is making sure you have all the tools necessary for you to be successful. So once you log on, you can easily fill and sign a document. You can easily track and manage any agreements that you're working on, all immediately once you log in. Also, you can request signatures and start from a library as well, which I'll touch on a little bit later. If we're looking at the top ribbon above, I'll select Send, and this is where I'll send all my agreements. This is where I'll be able to send my agreements, any documents I need to anyone who I need to as well. I can choose if I want to send it in order or any other order, in order or out of order if necessary. I can add myself, but also I can even attach a message, any instructions to the recipient. I can also add files. So you'll see me put this into action a little bit later, but I can also password protect it, set reminders for anyone who needs it. You'll see it a little bit later. There's sometimes individuals who don't really check their email too often. So we're gonna need to remind them a little bit every now and then to check this email and get the agreement going, because business never stops. I'm gonna go here to the manage part, and this is where I'll manage all my agreements. You see I have a couple already in progress. Nothing's really waiting for me because I like to be responsible. We also have the completed agreements that I've already worked on, anything canceled, expired, any of my templates, web forms, etc. This is really helpful so I can manage everything moving forward, so I never really lose track of what needs to be done. Next, I'm gonna go into workflows. And this is one of my favorite parts because recently we announced that we are one of the first companies to have a native integration with Power Automate. So I know I saw a lot of IT individuals on the call. Pretty sure Power Automate is probably used by some of y'all. So you can easily leverage the workflows within Power Automate to either save a document to SharePoint, save it to Google Drive. These functions are available here natively within Acrobat Sign now. If you want to learn more, we have some links later on during the call. Happy to share those with y'all. But if you have your own custom workflows, the options available here, you can easily configure whatever you need to ensure that documents are signed and saved to wherever they need to go. Next is reports. And this is really where you'll manage all the previous agreements, either generate reports, reporting on activities within your orgs, or even user groups or specific users. This is where you'll learn more, have these agreements already available. Again, happy to showcase a little bit more. Happy to share, some resources and documents later in the resources tab, which would be later on in the call. And here within the account tab, this is really for those account admins, the main focal points, the main users of Sign, entitling it to other users. This is where you'll configure how that sign process will go for individuals, for those users. If you have any settings that you want to make sure, if you want to have some more security, some more granularity to your sign workflow processes, these options are all available here. And again, it's a lot of information here that you can leverage. I don't want to spend too much time on it because, again, we can go too deep in the weeds. I just want to showcase how you can leverage these tools to make those workflow processes a bit easier. So now I've talked a little bit about the UI. You're probably thinking, Kyrie, we know what it looks like. Cool. Let's go into the demo. So let's put this all in action. So let's go into it. I have this NDA that I'm working on that I plan on sending to my long lost brother, Chris. But there's some changes that need to be made to this NDA. It's in my Google Doc, so I'm pretty sure I need to change it to a PDF. The date is a little bit outdated. I'm pretty sure this probably isn't good anymore. So I'm gonna need to make some changes, go through it a little bit before I send it off to Chris. So I'm gonna go back here to Acrobat. And again, I mentioned that those online storage accounts can be leveraged here within Acrobat. I'm gonna go here to my Google Drive. Again, that's already set up and configured, and that's something that you can leverage, even leverage for all of your other users. If you're IT admin, if you know that all your users use Google Drive or SharePoint, you can set this up for them as well. But for now, I'm just gonna select within my demo documents, and here's that NDA right there. I'm gonna open that. Excuse me. I'm gonna open that here using this option to create a PDF. I could choose a single file, multiple files if necessary. I have a whole bunch of different options if I want to, but for now, I'm just gonna select create. And again, these storage accounts are available. So I can go from Adobe Cloud, but for right now, I'm just gonna choose my Google Drive account. I wanna make this NDA document into a PDF. But you're probably wondering, Kyrie, why are you making this into a PDF if you have changes to be made? The cool thing about Acrobat is I can make those changes all within Acrobat. So me personally, I may not be the best speller, but I know that's not how you spell disclosure. So I'm gonna need to make some changes here, and I'm pretty sure agreement doesn't have an I in it. So I can easily edit the PDF, choose right here, and then I do want to highlight again more of the user interface options to add text, add image, add headers. You'll see me do that a little bit more later. On the right-hand side, you see a lot of these different tools I mentioned earlier. The cool thing is that these are the quick access tools. So immediately, if I'm working on a document, I'll have these tools already available for me rather than having to go back into this tools tab. I already have all the tools available here. But going back into this document, let me make the changes I find I need necessary. I know disclosure is not spelled that way. Agreement needs to be edited. It is prepared by me. Again, the date's a little bit off. Let me make those changes as well. And again, these are all within Acrobat. I have not left the application yet. Perfect. That looks a lot better. I think there's a few more changes that need to be made. Again, disclosure is not spelled correctly. Let me make that change. And I think my brother would be a little bit upset if I spelled his last name wrong. So let me correct that as well. So perfect. Let me put his email just correctly. There it is. I think that looks clean. That looks concise. I think all the edits are made. But also to give this NDA a little bit more life, give it a little bit more officiality, I'm gonna add some headers and footers to it. I have options available here within the top ribbon. I can add, I can update or remove them. But for right now, I'm just gonna add them. So it's loading the system. And right here, now the pop-up has appeared that I can add headers or footers all using Acrobat. So I can easily change the font I want to use, the size. I can decide if I want to use in the left side, if I want it in the center footer, if I want it on the right. I can make a lot of changes. The power that you have is really endless here within the setting when it comes to the header and footer configurations. But one thing I do like is I can have pre-saved ones. So I already created one before. I was able to save it. So if I'm working on many different documents that require headers or footers, I can save that. Saves me a lot of time rather than having to, pre-configure it, make a new footer and header every time. I can already have it available and save it. So that saves me a lot of time, almost like a template. So that's already there. I can see a preview too. So if I don't really want to commit to it right then and there, I can see what it will look like, make any changes, any adjustments. But I feel pretty comfortable with this. So I'm gonna select OK. And within a matter of moments, you can see that the footer was already added, page 1 of 4. Let me scroll a little bit further down. You see 2 of 4. And that really took, half a second to do. It was all there, all available, pretty quick and easy. So now I'm going to save this document. Save this document here within my Google Drive. Actually, save it here. Perfect. Now that it's saved, now I'm going to go back into Sign. So here I'm in my sign interface. Again, once I log in, I can easily request signature. So once I request it, it takes me to that Sign tab, or it takes me here. I'm going to send this to my brother, Chris. His email already appeared. If I want to add a message, I will. I'll showcase that a little bit later. But I do want to ensure that Chris is who he says he is. Knowing my brother, he tends to, let other people hold his phone. I don't really want other people to see this information. So I'm going to put a password on it. Put a password on it to have a little bit more security, a little bit more granularity when he tries to access the document. Select the password. I want something that I think we'll both know. So what's more common than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think our last name. So Watson. But hopefully he knows that password. If not, then we're gonna have a problem. I'm gonna select OK. And one thing I do like about this message part is that I could change the title of it. So rather than just rather than just agreement name, I'm gonna put Global Corp NDA. I do want to showcase that when I add this title to the message or title to the message, just take a look at this please review document. Once I remove myself from this field, you see it changed it. It changed the instructions to please review and complete the Global Corp NDA. I think that's really cool, really awesome, really simple for anyone to do. But again, like I know my brother, he tends to be a little bit, lackadaisical. So I want to put a little bit fire under his belly when it comes to signing this document. So I'm gonna say, or I'm telling mom, because I know he doesn't want that problem. Perfect. So I'm gonna add the file. The NDA is right there. Open, save it, and now the file is already attached. Now, if I wanted to, I can set a reminder or password protect, add a little bit more granularity to it, a little more specific security to this document. But now I'm just going to make sure I set this reminder for him every day because, again, my brother tends to be a little bit, off his phone a lot. So I'm going to add that, remind him every day. And then below, I have the option to preview and add signatures. So me, I like to review things before I send it out, make sure it's clean, concise. I want to fine tune things. So I'm gonna make sure I have that option selected. But if you feel fine, you don't have to have it selected. But for me, I'm just gonna do it. So I'm gonna select next. And what it's doing right now is using our Adobe Sensei technology to really view the document and see if there's any fields that need to be added, any signature fields. So that's what it's doing. It's going through it right now. And you see, I'm of the ilk to working smarter, not harder. So Adobe Sensei was able to find some fields that were detecting this agreement that needed to be placed there. I didn't place them there, but I want the technology to do it. So I'm gonna say place fields. So I'm gonna scroll a little bit down and you can still see the document still has its essence, its integrity, still looks clean. Those footers are still there. My brother's name is still spelled correctly. Everything looks fine. So I'm gonna go a little bit down to see exactly where those signature fields were added. And there they are. They're already there. I didn't have to drag and drop. I didn't have to write anything to do that. I was easily able to allow the technology to do it for me, which is a huge time saver, a game changer in my opinion. But there are some things I need to edit a little bit. There isn't a signature needed to be added right here, so I can delete that. I do want Chris's signature here, but I don't need twice a signature. So I can just select this, I'll right click it, and I have the option to copy it, the option to repeat the field, delete it. But for right now, I'm just gonna edit it. You see it pop up on the left-hand side. I can change the field type. And so for right now, I'm just going to choose name. That's what I want to be there is his name. We also have different conditions, appearances, or tools that you can leverage. And I'll talk a little bit more about where you can find more resources on that. But for right now, I think that looks good. I think that works fine. On the right-hand side, you probably see a little bit more information on different fields that you can add. If I want to drag and drop more signatures, if I was signing the document, or if I wanted to add, maybe his company to the document, I can do that. But also we have a number of other data fields that you can add, any other signatures or transaction fields. The real cool thing about it is we have resources for you if you want to learn more about it. Please check out our Adobe Dojo. That's where a lot of my colleagues and myself have videos of us showing you the tips and tricks of how to leverage Adobe Sign, Creative Cloud, as well as Document Cloud workflows. So it's all on YouTube. We'll talk a little bit more about later in the resources, but just so I could put it in your ear, the Adobe Dojo. But going back to this document, I think it looks fine in my opinion. I see the name, signature, date. If I want to, I can save this as a template. Again, I like to work smarter, not harder. So if I do plan on sending out more NDAs to other individuals, I can save this to already have that preset available. But I don't think I'll plan on doing that right now. I just want to send this document to my brother. So I'm gonna send this document. It just asks me if I want to review it. I feel pretty comfortable with this, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to select send. And what it's doing now is sending that document to my brother, making sure everything is done. So now I'm going to go back into my mobile device or into quote unquote Chris's mobile device. Go into his email. And now you see he's received an email from me that signature is requested to go sign the Global Corp NDA. And now he can look through it and see what he needs to sign. And I do want to add, I saw this in the chat earlier. Chris does not have an Adobe Sign account. He does not have an Adobe Sign account. Only I do, Kyrie, the sender. That's all that's needed. The sender needs to have an account, signed account, but the recipient, the person who needs to sign, does not necessarily need that. Going back into the demo, you can see the message I left my brother. I told him I'm telling mom if he doesn't get this signed. And personally, I think that's really going to get him going. So he'll be able to sign it. And again, I set that password up. So now it's a very protected document. Now I can just include what I want it to be. I think that was the password, Watson15. Perfect. And now he's able to view the document. And having that password, again, just add a little bit more security to it to ensure that it's only Chris who can access the document and to get this signed. Once I go past the terms and privacy policy, you see at the top hand, I only have one field required. So that gives the user a little more understanding of what he needs to sign. Again, the document has the same, all the necessary information. Let me zoom in a little bit for y'all so y'all can see everything. It still looks clean and concise. But I'm gonna just select start so I can go right to it. So I can tap and sign. It gives me the indication that I can just tap and sign here. So I'm gonna do that. So if I wanted to, since I'm on a mobile device, I can turn it to the landscape view, but I don't think I need to do that. But if you look at the top hand, let me see if I can showcase that. If you look right here at the top, you'll see I can type in my name. I can draw it in if I wanted to, or if I had an image of anything. If I had an image of my signature, I can use that as well. But for right now, I'm just going to type it in. Perfect. Now Chris has typed in his information. He can apply it. Now let's scroll in a little bit closer, zoom in a little bit closer. You can see that since Chris signed it, you can see below that his name is there, which I configured that because initially it says signature. I wanted to put his full name there. And then below that, you can see the date. So everything, all that was simple and easy to do. All he had to do was sign it. So I think he feels pretty good about it. He's going to finish it. Tap and sign. And now let's process that document. And again, Chris does not have a signed account. He can create one if he wants to, but he doesn't necessarily have to because he's already able to sign it. If he wanted to download a copy just for his own records, the option is available to him as well. So I'm gonna go back to my browser, go back to my email. Let me refresh my email because I did receive an indication. You can see I did receive a notification that Chris signed and filled out the NDA. I can go through it there. If I want to open it, I can have the option to select it and view it. But I'll just go here back into sign, go back into my manage section so I can manage all the agreements. Again, this is where I'll manage all the agreements that I'm working with and complete it because Chris has already signed it. So you can see it's been signed by Chris. I was the sender. Here's the title. I can open that, which I will in a moment, and you can see the date that it was already signed. So I'm just going to open the document so y'all can see and view it. Again, the cohesiveness and the consistency of the document is still there. I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. You can see Chris's name is there, his signature is there, his first and last name, and the date is all there. And all this was done within a matter of moments. It didn't take me, days, hours to get this done. I did this probably within 10 minutes or so. So just to show the ease of use, the capabilities and the consistency of Acrobat, Sign, and the different functions that come within it. Now for my IT folks, I'm pretty sure y'all want to look through this, making sure y'all have some reports y'all need to get through. So I do want to show this audit report. And what this will do, this will showcase the whole journey of this document, the whole journey of this, this process. So you can see when I created the document, the exact time and date, the email address as well. You can see when I emailed it to Chris. You can see when he opened it. You can also see when he entered his name and when he was able to sign it. But you can also see when he entered in the right password. So again, this just shows every step of that whole journey that you need to go about, that you can go about if you need to do any reporting or any tracking of what happened with this document. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that was good and understanding for you. Good to get an understanding of how you can use Acrobat and Acrobat Sign to kind of optimize those document processes. Hopefully you can take something away from this. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Hopefully this was helpful. Now this line. Perfect.
Terrific. Wow, Kyrie, that was amazing. Thank you very much for the demo, the overview of the administrative console, including how to set up things like OneDrive, Google Drive, and then walking through those particular products, Acrobat and Sign.
Right.
You want to tell us about the resources that are available to our clients?
Yeah, of course. So if you see the top one, the Adobe Dojo, again, I mentioned that before. That's where you can look at our YouTube channel where my colleagues and I, we have a number of videos, whether that's Creative Cloud, Document Cloud, Acrobat Sign, on the best practices, any tips and tricks you need with leveraging those tools. Below that, you see the different entitlement locations where you'll need to leverage. You can use the Adobe Admin Console to manage your users, manage your licenses, or use that SSO integration setting that I mentioned before, or also entitle users using product profiles. Below that, we have more focus on the Acrobat and Sign capabilities, utilizing the online storage accounts. I'm pretty sure some of y'all use Google Drive, SharePoint, OneDrive to manage your documents. It talks a little bit about how you can integrate that with Acrobat. And then on the other ones, we have different user guides and tutorials pertaining to Acrobat Sign and Adobe Acrobat. So hopefully you guys take opportunity with those documents, bookmark them, save them, share them out, and go forward. Thank you.
That was terrific. Thanks again, Kyrie. Really great information. I encourage you to, down at the bottom of the screen, click on those individual links, bookmark them at your convenience because they'll be useful guides. What are your next steps? Well, as we had talked about earlier on, take advantage of the resources available here on the screen, the links. As we had indicated before, if you have questions, get them in the question chat on the left-hand side. If you'd like follow up with additional information about pricing, how these products might fit into your environment, feel free to contact me at lista@adobe.com or your reseller that you currently work with to get additional information. We'd be delighted to help out wherever we can. These products are powerful, and we appreciate your time. At this point in time, we'd like to turn it over for Q&A. I know we've only got a limited amount of time because of those great demos what Kyrie was showing you, but we encourage you to ask any questions you might have.
Hi, this is Cindy Bringhurst. I'm going to moderate the Q&A. I'm a solution consultant here at Adobe. One question that I saw come up again and again in the chat was, do my recipients have to have a Sign license or Adobe Sign application to sign an agreement? Kyrie, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So the answer is no. As you probably saw in the demo, I was acting as my brother Chris. He does not have a Sign account. So you do not need to have a Sign account to sign the document. Only the sender needs to have an account. But if you're just signing it, you do not, it will automatically be fine.
Thank you. And Tony, this one's for you. Lots of questions around what's the difference between licensing of Acrobat Pro versus Sign?
So it requires a fairly detailed examination of your needs, but generally speaking, when I speak with clients, what I like to look at is what their needs are for workflow and integration. And if they don't have any significant workflow needs, that means moving the document from one person to another or gathering information from legacy system to another, Acrobat Pro will generally meet your needs. If you have significant integration needs, what I mean by that, if you'd like to extract information from your ERP system or sign documents within your CRM system, Sign is required for that. And generally speaking, it would be the enterprise license that would be required. If you'd like to explore that in more detail, drop me an email at lista@adobe.com and I'll explore that in more detail. It generally has to do with workflow and APIs.
Great, thank you. One follow-up on that. Are some of the Microsoft integrations included with the Pro license versus what you need with the Sign license, or what you get with the Sign license?
So a blanket statement I can make is that Acrobat and Sign are natively integrated with Microsoft. And what I mean by natively integrated, that means you can open up PDF files within Office 365. If you are a Teams user, you can open up PDF files, you can collaborate on those files, and you can electronically send them out for signature. There's other things that were brought up earlier on, Power Automate, for example, which require a little configuration setup, but these things are natively integrated. We have a great association with Microsoft for purposes of collaboration in that environment. And again, if you'd like more details, drop us an email. For me, lista@adobe.com.
Okay, let's go with one more question that has come up. Do all of my signed agreements, can they only be stored in Adobe Sign, or can I store them in other applications as well, like SharePoint or a Vault system?
Kyrie, you went over that a little bit. Go ahead.
The answer is yes. You can store wherever you need to find where you find best. You just have to configure that, but it's not very hard. Easy to do.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone, for the questions and answers. And if you need further details, just a reminder to put your email into the question pod.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
I want to thank everyone for joining today. If you have any questions for the presenters, you can go ahead and get them in that Q&A pod along the left-hand side of the web room. Thank you for joining today's event, Getting Started with Adobe Acrobat and Acrobat Sign. Thanks to all of our presenters, and have a great rest of your day.